Good evening and welcome to the regular meeting of the Wooster City Council scheduled for this Monday, November 20th, 2017. It is after 7:30. Next meeting will be Monday, December 4th. This time, would you please call the roll, Mr. Paul?
Mr. Ansel?
Here.
Mr. Cavan?
Here.
Ms. Knappich? Here. Mr. Myers?
Here.
Mr. Sanders?
Here.
Mr. Silvestri?
Here.
And Mr. Albright?
Here. We have a full complement, so we have a quorum. The agenda will remain as presented. And at this time, I would ask you to stand and join the council members and recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this point in time, I would like to recognize Lindsay Coon-Blair. She is the Auditor of State, and she has one more accolade for Mr. Doria in his finance department. So I don't know where he's going to put it on his wall in his office. I don't know where he's going to put it on his desk or on his floor.
That's true.
But it's an honor, well-deserved.
A lot of my jokes, usually I say this isn't a shakedown, that I am here on good news. And certainly, I do like to refer to Mr. Doria as a repeat offender because he has received many awards from our direction. But it's truly an honor to be here. As Dave mentioned, I'm Lindsay Coon-Blair. I am from the Auditor of State's Office on behalf of Dave Yost. And we audit about 5,900 government entities across the state of Ohio. What I'm here to present this evening is the Auditor of State Award with Distinction. That is the gold standard. That is the highest award that anyone can achieve from our office. I think something like less than 5% of our entities even qualify to receive this award, let alone receive it. So it is very exciting that I'm here this evening. One thing I wanted to just kind of point out, and I'll read only the juicy parts of this letter from the great auditor, but so many folks don't really understand what's involved in an audit. I won't bore you with all of the details, but certainly do understand that it's not just about crunching the numbers. Of course, we hope everything reconciles and everything's on the up and up, but so much of it is about compliance. And we know that you have a fearless finance director here that does an incredible job year after year. And certainly it helps that you were able to work in concert with an excellent council and your administration and your finance team. But do know that this is a real feather in your cap, and not everyone receives these awards, and especially this one. So, like I said, I promise to be quick. I just want to explain, though, that this is a clean audit report. That means that it didn't contain any findings for recovery, material citations, material weaknesses, significant deficiencies, or questionable costs. And as I mentioned, it's really that compliance piece that is ever so important. So we thank you all for working so well with the finance team and the finance director. And Sarah, I'd like to present this to you. Thank you so much for all you do every day.
I'd like to say it's 1% me and 99% everybody else, including council, including the hospital. So they've got a great staff there. I've got a fantastic, intelligent staff. I'm just lucky because they made me look good. Pretty decent boss here. Most of the time. And these two, of course, and of course, council. It's great working with you. You help support our department, and which doesn't mean you keep rubber stamp us. I've had questions for every single one of you. So, hold us accountable, and we appreciate that. But thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Well
done.
Thanks, Ms.
Thank
Blair.
you.
Thank you very
Have a
much.
safe trip
Thank
home.
you.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
And before we get to the approval of the minutes, I will recognize members of Troop 63 here who are here for their community and citizenship patch. So, welcome. You'll find out that the truth to the saying that there's two things you don't want to see being made is sausage and moss. So, just kidding. We have a great council here. This time I would entertain a motion for the approval of minutes from the November 6th, 2017 meeting.
So moved.
To approve by Ms. Knappich. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Silvestri. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay. The November 6, 2017 minutes are approved. Mr. Mayor, welcome. I understand you had a great Window Wonderland.
We did, and that's part of things that I'll talk to you about. I need to start a different direction, though. Since our last council meeting, we've had quite a roller coaster ride here in the city. 2 days after our last council meeting, one of our administrators in the city passed away. Megan Keller and her husband Cody were found dead in their home. It looks like it was carbon monoxide poisoning. And Megan had been with our city team since 2006, so a little over 11 years. Was a very well-respected administrator, really kept the police division running, all of the paperwork that's involved with running a police division pretty much flowed through Megan. And so it was a very tough time because she was known by all and well-respected by all and a friend of all. So she passed on November 8th, and the funeral was on Tuesday the following week, which would have been, the 13th. Calling hours were the day before on the 12th. So I know a lot of our team was present at those, and sad times, and we truly will miss Megan. So that was the bottom of the roller coaster ride. Then here on Friday, we got to the top of the roller coaster ride because, as you said, Mr. Bidendike, and the sign over there shows the Ohio Magazine publisher and president came to our town to present us with the award for Best Hometown, which he gave us in a hard copy, and we'll hang it right beside the one that we got in 2006 also for the same award. Actually, I think the award was presented in 2007, but it was established in 2006, 2007 year. So very high honor to not only get this award one time, but to be a repeat city is really a high honor. There's only been 3 repeat cities that have gotten the Ohio Magazine Best Hometown Award since the award was started. It's Wooster, Marietta, and Maumee, Ohio are the only 3 cities that have done a repeat. So very high honor, and we sure appreciate Mr. Luke Harmon coming to our city and presenting the award on Friday night. And it was part of the Window Wonderland festivities that Main Street Wooster and the Chamber were a part of, and really we got to piggyback on the front end of that. So thank you, both Chamber and Main Street, for allowing us to be a part of that, a great celebration. The celebration also entailed the best hometown, or the Best Places to Live by Money Magazine. So it was a twofer for us, and we combined it all into one big celebration. So if you hadn't gotten one before, we had presents for people. So we have some left if anybody needs one. They're here till they're gone, and I think council members, you all received one tonight. So ways to celebrate. So with that, the only other thing is I know we had a budget meeting for 2018 prior to this meeting tonight. A lot of work goes into preparing the budgets. As a council member, it's really probably the most important job you do because you are setting the spending itinerary for the next year for our city. So please review the budget document. I know you all received a booklet from Andre tonight. And if you have any questions, please ask us. We welcome those because we want to make sure everybody understands what's being presented. So with that, I'll let Mr. Ansel talk about his committee meeting and share the details. But
Well, you're jumping ahead in my agenda.
True. I turn
I'll
it
wait.
back over to you, Mr.
I'll wait.
Will you wait, please?
Yeah, question is.
That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, no petitions, but we do have one individual signed up to speak, Greg Garris. Stand and state your address, name and address, please.
My name is Greg Harris at 347 North Grand Street, and I'm wanting to speak this evening in opposing Resolution 2017-51 of those bed tax dollars to two of this evening's would-be recipients, and that's for the following reasons. As was just mentioned, on the 8th of November, a public asset, our library, was closed 90 minutes before it was supposed to close to hold a private party for Main Street and other officials. The mayor hadn't been there, and I'm not sure who else had been there, but it was nonetheless an asset taken from the public for 90 minutes.
Well, we have no control over the library, Mr.
Yes, but you
Garris.
have control.
So
of
you
the
should be
bed tax.
addressing that
This is
to
about
the
bed
commissioners.
tax this evening, and whether the board members of the library or the county commissioners okayed this event, this is perhaps where things get tricky. We don't know that, but maybe it should be investigated, maybe the public should be compensated, maybe Sandra should be denied this money tonight, put it on hold, second reading, look into this. It's a concern, it's an asset that was stolen from us.
Well, we have no control over the library. We have no control over the commissioners, so.
Control over the bed tax money is my point. And furthermore, the second party would be the Chamber of Commerce. Mr. Williams, who's board chair of the chamber, partook in partisan politics this season by allowing Mr. Ainsley's yard signs to be in his property. This
Well,
is
now you're getting
reminiscent
far
of-
Mr. Garris, I would ask you to conclude if,
This is about, ready to be concluded. This is reminiscent of this trouble. that we had
Mr.
years
Garris,
ago
you have
with partisan.
You have used up your macaroni minutes, as they used to say in the commercial, so if there's something you want to take up with Mr. Williams or the chamber, that's your
Something
prerogative.
Mr. Albright took up with the chamber years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, and misused that tax money for partisan politics. That's all I'm suggesting. And lastly, to conclude, Mr. Ainsel, you're a businessman, you're probably a member of the chamber. Should you not recuse yourself from...
Mr. Garris, your time has run out. Okay. Committee reports. We had about an hour and a half finance committee chaired by Mr. Ansel. Would you like to give a brief synopsis?
Certainly, and I will be brief, but I want to commend the administration and the Director of Finance and his team. And again, another very thorough and detailed budgetary forecast for the upcoming year. We have a remarkable trend of revenue projections and expense projections that we generally exceed revenue projections, which is a positive thing. And the expenditures, again, continue to perform in a very positive fashion. It's nice to have those budgets so accurate and so pinpointed that allows us to have the confidence and credibility of all the fiduciary functions within the cities and our responsibilities. So we have, as always, a lot of detailed review work ahead of us. We'll have at least one other meeting before we move this to third and final before year end but the numbers look very positive, very reasonable and realistic, and with the exception of some areas that we're going to have to really aggressively engage in the upcoming year, the budget looks very promising for 2018. I want to thank my other committee members, Councilman Myers and Councilman Sanders, for their input and direction. But again, now the real roll-up-your-sleeve work begins, and we'll have a meeting scheduled, a secondary follow-up meeting on Monday, December 4th at 6 o'clock in City Council chambers. But thank you, fellow committee members and the other council members that attended the working session, and also the Wooster Community Hospital for very upbeat and positive projections for the upcoming year. The finances of the city of Worcester are healthy, and things are very prosperous. So it's all positive at this point in time. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hansel. We have no old business. So we have 4 items on the agenda. They'll all be presented by Mr. Hansel. And the first one is resolution number 2017-48. It is a budgeted item. So before I get to you, Mr. Ansel, I would have Mr. Paula read the title.
Resolution number 2017-48, a resolution authorizing the Director of Administration to enter into a contract for property and general liability insurance for the municipal government.
Thank you. Mr. Ansel, the floor is yours.
Yes, this is a much-needed piece of legislation this evening. It's something that we review annually. We've been very fortunate to have a track record and a long-term commitment with our local insurance provider, Whitaker Myers Insurance. Their representative this evening, Mr. Bender, Joe Bender, is in attendance, and I will let him make a few comments. The summary data that has been provided to council is quite extensive in terms of detail, talking about Whitaker Myers Insurance, the Ohio plan, which is utilized in over 700 public entities throughout the state of Ohio. It's a formidable plan. It's one that we've had great success with. We've had a 3-year commitment with caps on the premium, so our annual payment has been consistent for 3 years in a row. We're talking about renewing that plan, which was competitively bid 3 years ago, and it was significantly the lead provider, and we decided to proceed with Whitaker Myers at that point in time. The current renewal for $231,800 is actually a base rate of $242,747, but we have an Ohio plan advantage credit of nearly $11,000 that makes this coverage very, very competitive. The justification analysis, again, has been provided to council, and you can see what our premiums have been since 2009, the proposed 2017 and 18 plan adjustments. And I will highlight there has been a nominal change in the expense of the total liability coverage, but we've also added personal property assets significantly, and the most significant is the additional $13,325,000 new safety service building, the digester facility that we purchased from Quasar, and the playground equipment. So nominal increases, significant increase in the asset base for liability and property coverage. We thank Whitaker Myers, Mr. Bender, and the Ohio plan for such a formidable plan at an economic price. So this is a budgeted item. The budget reflects, as noted, and this would be another 3-year commitment for our partnership with Whitaker Myers Insurance and the Ohio plan. And with that, I would like to open the floor briefly to Mr. Bender to add any other highlights that he might like to add regarding the coverage and the proposal before us this evening. Mr. Bender, please.
Thank you. Actually, you did a great job. I really, it's an honor and privilege for a local agency, Whitaker Myers, to be able to help our city the way we do. And we have great relationships with all the various departments along the way. You know, it's nice to be able just to be a stone throw down the road, so if there is a problem, we can have someone right there on the spot and all. The relationships, I said, you know, with all the various departments is very key in keeping those costs down. As John alluded, we came up with a rate cap and over a 3-year period of time, and actually we've under-exceeded that cap by quite a bit each year. When you look at the amount of losses that we've had over the last 4-year period of time, we have some $300,000 and $350,000 worth of losses, to be able to keep the premium, really the rate itself, stagnant during that 3-year period of time is a pretty great feat by the program itself. So the program has been able to be, it works for its members. I think it's done a great job for the city, and well, like I said, we're honored to be the representative of the Ohio plan and to help out with that method of insuring the city.
Thank you, Mr. Bender. I will highlight, as a business owner, I wish we had these type of competitive cost plans, because with the coverage that we're able to achieve on behalf of the city of Worcester is 50% of what it would cost in the you know, the real world market. So it's very favorable with the coverage levels that we have, and thank Whitaker Myers for their local president. It is nice to have that contact locally here should the need arise versus being in Cincinnati or Chicago or some other long distance location. Because of the ease of this, and this being a renewal and being within budget, and with the understanding of the performance over the last several years and the competitiveness program, I would like to move, just for housekeeping purposes, this to third and final reading this evening.
It's budgeted,
Oh, okay. I'd like
which you prefaced.
if there aren't
You
any
must be
additional questions.
exhausted from your finance committee meeting.
No, I'm not.
He's got 3 more things tonight.
I know.
I would motion to pass Resolution 2017-48.
Okay, motion by Mr. Ansel to approve, seconded by Mr. Myers. Would you please call the roll on the motion to adopt resolution number 2017-48?
Ansel,
Yes.
Cavan,
Yes.
Knappich,
Yes.
Myers,
Yes.
Sanders,
Yes.
Silvestri,
Yes.
and Albright.
Yes.
Okay, 2017-48, said resolution is adopted. That brings us to the first reading of ordinance number 2017-37. Would you please read the title of that? 36, sorry.
Ordinance number 2017-36, an ordinance appropriating from various funds to individual accounts for the current expenses and other expenditures for the city of Worcester for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2018, and declaring an emergency.
Okay, Mr. Ansel, take it away.
I'll be very brief, because this will stay on first reading, and this will go at least 2 readings, perhaps 3, but this is the 2018 appropriation budget for the city of Worcester that includes the Worcester City finances as well as the Worcester Community Hospital finances. And this is required by our charter that no later than the second meeting in November to have the preliminary budget review. We've had that presentation this evening. We'll do further review and deliberation, and perhaps we can approve it after our next meeting, the first meeting in December. If not, we'll go ahead and get it done the third reading in the second meeting in December. But it's pretty straightforward. Do your homework and be prepared in a couple weeks to come back, and let's take action on this. Thank you.
All right, we'll consider ordinance number 2017-36 as having its first reading. That brings us to resolution number 2017-50. That'll be presented by Mr. Ansel. It is slated for 3 readings. Before I get back to you, Mr. Ansel, if Mr. Paula would please read the title, I'd appreciate it.
Resolution number 2017-50, a resolution authorizing the Director of Administration to enter into a professional or technical services contract for the purchase of a financial management information system and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Ansel, the floor is yours.
Yes, Mr. Doherty is here this evening, but I'll give the first pass at the resolution and the explanation. First and foremost, I want to highlight that an 18-year functionality run on software is pretty remarkable, and that's what we've now, the mileage that we've put on our software infrastructure that manages all accounting, all IT, all human resources and finances for the city of Worcester. So it is time for an upgrade. A thorough review was done involving each of the departments noted, as a collaborative effort should be, so everyone had input and review. And we've been able to identify a remarkable opportunity provided by Tyler Technologies, AKA New World Systems, as their software package. It's significantly less than our current systems operating expense on an annual basis, to the tune of about $50,000 less than our current technology, with the annual updates that, by the way, will no longer be supported in the future. So we don't have that opportunity, but the new system to come in and replace with our current provider would be approximately $50,000 more a year than the Tyler technology, which is a web-based application with internet service capabilities and functionality. And we all received the summary explanations in the detail, but one of the most compelling things, and I am going to take a moment because I didn't forward this on to you, below our Tyler Technologies other customers, so when we reviewed the system's upgrades, we were able to contact and get personal professional references from other municipalities our size and scale to ensure that they were pleased with not only the service, the functionality, but the cost. But it'll take a moment. Ashtabula, Avon Lake, Bowling Green, Canton, Cuyahoga Heights, Cuyahoga County Public Library, Deerfield Township, Elyria, Euclid, Forest Park, Geauga County, Hamilton, Kent, Lorraine, Mansfield, Marietta, Marion, Newark, Reynoldsburg, Sandusky, Upper Arlington, Wadsworth, Warren, Willoughby, and Youngstown. So based on the price and the consensus recommendation for the departments involved with the use of this future operating system, this appears to be the right move. As Mr. Doherty highlighted in a discussion, we will run tandem systems for 1 year, so there will be some redundancy expenses while we dial the new and vet the new system and implement it. Through 2018, we'll run our existing system and then phase it out at the end of the year and go live with the new operating protocols. But again, the annual budget for this project was $225,000, and it will come out of the Interfund Transaction Cost Center and the General Fund Administration Cost Center, and we have both of those funds available for this expenditure. It was anticipated in 2018 and is reflected in our budget projections. Mr. Doherty, would you like to add anything to that?
I don't know what I can add.
Well, believe me, he prepped well. Yes, Ms. Knappich.
I do have a question. Looking at the summary, it says that we would either have to make a major upgrade to our current system or move to new software. We have the new software. At what point in time would we be looking at a major upgrade to our system, and if so, what would the cost be?
Well, right now, so our choices, our software platform is, they're phasing it out. So by the end of this year, we need to either go on their new platform and or go to a different software vendor. So we did due diligence and asked some peers, who was your software provider, and did you like them? And we got two other names, and we had come in and demo for accounting, finance, and then we had IT there and some other power users in other departments, and came up with that.
So this eliminates the need for a major
All we
upgrade?
need is what we need is an internet connection.
Okay, so we're not looking at this as being a fix until we need a major upgrade? Okay.
This is a brand whole new system. And the other benefit is that we negotiate a 5-year lock-in price. That price doesn't increase, stays flat for 5 years. Another a good benefit is our IT manager, Bob Eshelman. He worked with this company when, as a software provider, when he was at his position at the city of Wadsworth. So we feel good at knowing that going into it.
So we'll be able to get council's computers working?
Well, I can get you on the finance software. Inquiry only,
That's
but-
all well and good, but we all have computers and none of us can hook up to them. So if we can get that done, that would be great.
You know, the interesting point, and that was in the commentary summary, the other comparative or the competitive proposals were all over $500,000.
Right.
So over the 5-year period, as Andre knows, we'll save $400,000 over the nearest competitor with the same functionality, which is a remarkable value. So, and that's IFAS, our current provider, their new platform, and another competitor.
Right.
And I'll add it would be, unfortunately, a lot more headache on Sarah Lynn and everyone in my department, obviously, when you're going from a different software to another one. So,
Yeah.
But we can do it.
It's inevitable with today's technology. And the nice thing about this, from council's perspective, it's their choice and it's the lowest cost choice. Don't you love when that happens? You know, you don't like it so much if you really want something and it's double the cost, but when it's a great value and you really want it, it's kind of a win-win for everybody
Sure
involved.
is.
Well, we saved $350,000 over what we would have paid had we stayed with the
Right.
original program. Ms. Leish was kind enough to fill in for Mr. Doherty while he was basking in the glory of his award to answer some questions. And she assured me that the transition of migrating the data from the existing platform to the new one is virtually seamless, and that, part of the contract involves them being able to troubleshoot, and even if there's something wonky, they would, for some reason, have to charge us, which I highly doubt, but because of the cost savings, we're still going to come out ahead. So she was very informative with regard to answering my...
Mr. Kevin, let Mr. Silvestri, who wanted to make a point.
Just
please.
one follow-up question with that. I didn't know if that was going to cause added strain to your department in the information transfer. I know you're going to run tandem for a year, but
It'll cause a lot more effort. There's no getting around that.
is the company going to support us in that role, or is there
Yeah.
another entity that's going to come into the system?
That they will.
Okay.
And that they will, and also our IT, and like I said,
He's a power user,
brilliant
right?
people that I work with, so.
Great.
And he's a power user from his past job.
Yes, and another nice thing, I don't want to belabor this, but what they'll do is, our HR right now is doing things on a spreadsheet, so what they can do is they will take that data, okay, and feed it into the HR system, so they'll no longer be on a spreadsheet, which is good, and it'll be housed on the HR system. There's a lot of pros, but it's not that we don't like our current provider, but it's, when you look at that kind of dollars, you can't say no.
Yeah, Ms. Leish had allowed that we don't have our HR integrated in the system we use now, and that this has that component. So,
Wonderful.
basically, it's going to streamline operation on a lot of departments.
Absolutely. Makes sense.
Mr. Cavan, did you have a question?
Oh, I had just wondered about him being able to provide support and things like that, security.
Yes. They're, it's like a
I think-
client, yes. And it's similar to what we're doing now. All we need is an internet connection, okay? A secure internet connection. And we can operate anywhere.
This is cloud-based?
Yes. And with our IT, we don't have to have.
No servers, no
hardware,
infrastructure.
servers. They do all the maintenance, they do all the upgrades, so it's.
No added cost.
Right, there's the one annual fee and that's it.
Almost sounds too good to be true, and I
That's
always
why I
worry
was
about when
asking
things
questions.
are.
Good success.
But
with-
obviously, there's a number of cities that have used it and are very pleased with it.
As long as you're not paying
Let's
users.
reinforce our approval this evening on the hard work and research that has been undertaken, and also the recommendation from all of the department managers. And that being noted, I would like to suspend the rules and move Resolution 2017-50 to third and final reading this evening.
Motion to suspend the rules by Mr. Ansel. Is there a second?
Second.
By Ms. Knappich. Would you please call the roll on the suspension of the rules?
Knappich,
Yes.
Myers,
Yes.
Sanders,
Yes.
Silvestri,
Yes.
Albright,
Yes.
Ansel,
Yes.
and Cavan.
Yes.
The rules are suspended.
Motion to adopt,
Ansel.
Mr. President.
Motion to adopt by Mr. Ansel. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Knappich. I saw her hand go up first. Would you, anyone else have any other questions? Now's the time. Sounds like a great deal and good job searching this company out. Seeing none, would you please call the roll on the motion to adopt?
Knappich,
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Sanders,
Yes.
Silvestri,
Yes.
Albright, Ansel.
Yes.
And Cavan.
Yes.
Thank you.
Resolution number 2017-50 passes. And now bring us to resolution number 2017-51. And I see a number of the folks from the various entities here in tonight's audience. The Worcester Main Street Chamber and the County Convention Bureau, although Ms. Starkey's here so often annually that you're a regular. Although you didn't bring a goodie bag. Oh, you did?
Yes, she did.
How about that? Well, before we get to you folks, which I'm sure Mr. Ansel will allow you to speak if you are so inclined, we'll have Mr. Paulo read the title.
Resolution number 2017-51, a resolution authorizing agreements with various applicants for the use of economic development monies.
Mr. Ansel, the floor is yours, and I should note this is for 3 readings unless you suspend the rules.
The tradition continues, and on behalf of City Council and the administration, we want to thank the collaboration that has been sustained with the Worcester Chamber, Main Street Worcester, and the Wayne County Convention and Visitors Bureau. It's wonderful to have a single cohesive application for really a high dollar value allocation or reallocation of funds, all directed toward the economic development and prosperity of our downtown area and our community as a whole. And as we all are aware, we collect a 3% bed tax surcharge for all of the visitors that visit Worcester. And it's a sizable amount. This year it will be $273,000 of tax collection. That's a formidable amount of cash. And in our support of the organizations that generate that visitation, that energy, that enthusiasm for our community, we feel it only right and proper to allocate 48% of that fund collection back to our stakeholders or our organizations responsible for the success. And I will highlight one of the neat key terms, and this is a summary document that you all can review every year. We get the joint application, and it's as compelling as ever in terms of the return on investment being generated. Not only the small amount of bed tax dollars, well, $750,000 is not, or $250,000 isn't a small amount, but the economic driver of those visitors to our community is millions of dollars, dining and buying and spending monies within our community. And there's a quote that Sandra has in one of her Main Street viewpoints that I thought very appropriate, and it's a quote from Abraham Lincoln. And the quote, "The best way to predict the future is to create it yourself." And that's exactly what these three organizations have done to maintain our downtown and our city within the county as being a go-to destination. And that's valuable, folks. That has huge value. It's an economic driver, so this is always so rewarding to allocate these funds. And then rather than to have each of the organizations work in competition, they come in with a single application joint request. And that joint request, based on the 2018 projections, will be funding to Main Street of $70,410, to the Chamber $43,984, and the Wayne County Convention and Visitors Bureau $19,146. And I forward that on to you so you had those numbers in your email. Again, up over budget projections for 2017. It may come in more with the momentum that we have established, but thank you. And we have all representing bodies here. The board of directors have been very engaged in the commentary and the return on justification analysis. But I assure you, every year the story gets more compelling and more positive. So the momentum has been established and the return has been significant. I will weigh in with other council members and also invite the representatives from Chamber, from Main Street Wooster and the Convention Bureau to have their 2 minutes of commentary. And then also, if you want to review this, I'm certainly willing to keep this on first reading, but I assure you, you should review it, but it's not going to sway your vote either way because it's a remarkable success story. With Mr. Albright was one of the first council members 7 or 8 years ago in this joint request that wanted some justification analysis in terms of the economic driver that this request generates, and it's all here. It's all here. So that being noted, I'd open the floor to, let's start with the Chamber.
All right, thank you for the opening, John. Nicely done there. Well, this year, bed tax is up. We do like pipeline work in Wayne County, so that helps out quite a bit with the bed tax money. But really, honestly, this is my 5th year at the Chamber. I have a history here at City Hall and love the Wooster community. I think what's great is when you go throughout the state, my colleagues say, hey, Wooster and Wayne County really have it. There's some really positive things happening, and that's really, it's really fun to hear that throughout the state. I mean, we are recognized in economic development world and community development world, and I jotted 3 things down on really our primary focus as organizations are 3 things that I think this council can take to heart and understand. We promote community to our outside visitors. That's individuals and to businesses. Those individuals and businesses that are visiting, it's our focus to make sure that they find Wooster unique. They have a unique experience while they're here. Downtown has been a great piece for us to show off. Retain, from an economic development perspective, everybody here is really active in economic development. Our primary focus is retention of community and business partners. And that's through increased quality of life, and then also making sure that all of our legislation is business friendly and to promote a business friendly environment. And lastly, I think this is really important, we encourage community involvement. It's great to have citizens that live here in Wooster and our population is steadily growing, but the Gojos of the world, the Daisies of the world, the Schefflers who continue to grow, we have a representative here from Scheffler, that's all good and well, but to have those employees and citizens in Wooster engaged in the community is really, really important. I think you can see the value add when people buy into Wooster as a unique community. If you were not at the Window Wonderland on Friday and see thousands and thousands of people, and then it's really cool, I was just going through my Facebook feed on Saturday and Sunday to see literally hundreds of local people saying, that they feel very fortunate to live in Wayne County and Wooster, and that it's a very unique community. That's community involvement, and that's what we try to do every day, is to encourage people to be part of the community, not just a citizen. So.
Thank you, Justin. Thanks the chamber for being represented here this evening. Main Street Worcester.
Thank you, Mr. Ansel and city council members. I'm here representing Sandra Hall, who sends her regrets that she couldn't be here tonight. She is traveling out of state visiting family for the holidays. As many of you know, we just celebrated our 30-year anniversary at Main Street Worcester, which is really amazing, the longest running Main Street in Ohio. And some of the highlights over the last 30 years are pretty remarkable. We've been there, Main Street Worcester has been there to help facilitate over $190 million of private and public investment in the downtown. And through that investment, we've seen 180 plus buildings get rehabbed and fixed up and reused. And the vacancy rate back in 1987, when Main Street was founded, was about 40+% vacancy on the ground floor. And that vacancy has dropped now in the last 30 years to below 5%, which is just remarkable. In addition, we have over 140 lofts in the upper floors, the second and third floors of the buildings in the downtown. And these are all market rate lofts. So I think that's one of the big successes for downtown Worcester, has been getting that residential population built in. And those people are using the restaurants and retail outlets and the grocery stores, the library, so on and so forth. The bed tax has become really helpful to Main Street Worcester, and Justin alluded to community involvement. One of the things that we do really well is events in the downtown, and we now are hosting over 15 events annually. And what's incredible is those events drive about 25,000 people into the downtown every year. So I think really priceless exposure for the businesses that are in the downtown, and to Justin's point, really building that utilization of our downtown with our residents. So we appreciate your consideration of continuing to allocate the bed tax money, and we're available for any questions if you have any.
Thank you very much. Wayne County Convention and Visitors Bureau. Martha.
Now that I know I'm loved for my goodie bags.
Well, you keep bringing those, we'll keep inviting you back, Marty.
So I brought you a copy of the new brochure, well, this past year's brochure, and there's a goodie in there for you. And then there's also a copy of our Made in Wayne County trail map. So yeah, you're supposed to pass that out. There's 30 stops in here of businesses in Wayne County that have a Made in Wayne County component to their business. People can take this book in, get it stamped, and when they get half of them stamped, they get a free t-shirt from us. So it's just a way to drive people to some of the businesses that have a specific Wayne County connection. And to reiterate what Mr. Ansel said, in our study that we do every other year with the state on the economic impact of tourism in Wayne County, in 2015, visitors spent $244 million in Wayne County. So it's hundreds of millions of dollars that visitors spend when they come to Wayne County every year. So that's why, we got to keep that tourism, generator going and keep driving people to Wayne County. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and we are very fortunate in downtown Worcester and Wayne County overall is a Ohio destination. People come here to enjoy the culture, the sights, the food, the sounds, the esprit de corps within the community. It's cool to see this momentum. I will, again, this is available, but it's the only application we have. It has a track record of success. I like to get things done at the end of the year. I'd like to be able, with council's support, motion to suspend the rules and move Resolution 2017-51 to third and final reading this evening.
So that is, you're making that motion?
If I have a second.
I have a second.
All right, so motion to suspend the rules by Mr. Ansel and a second by Ms. Knappich. Would you please call the roll on the suspension of the rules?
Myers?
Yes.
Sanders?
Yes.
Silvestri?
Yes.
Albright? Ansel?
Yes.
Cavan?
Yes.
Knappich?
Yes.
Okay, the rules are suspended.
Motion to adopt, Mr. President.
Motion to adopt by Mr. Ansel. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Knappich. Any further discussion, or questions of either Mr. Ansel or the folks here in attendance?
The only reason I voted no is I haven't had the opportunity to look through that report.
Okay. Nothing further, would you please call the roll on the motion to adopt?
Myers?
Yes.
Sanders?
Yes.
Silvestri?
Yes.
Albright?
Yes.
Ansel?
Yes.
Cavan?
Yes.
And Knapp?
Yes.
Resolution number 2017-51 passes. That concludes the legislative portion. Feel free to leave if you are so inclined. This will bring us to miscellaneous. And before I open it to council members, I'd like to give a shout out to the EMS crew who attended me after I was a passenger in a vehicle that was rear-ended last week. Lieutenant Scott Mashew, firefighter Pat Christie, and firefighter Scott Martin, and Chief Nathan Murphy also came by. It's not often that you see another vehicle on its top in the city streets of Wooster. And,
You were on your roof?
the car that hit us in the back.
Wow.
And so I was fortunate no one was seriously hurt. And as always, the EMS crew was very professional and compassionate. They took two old guys and put them in the ambulance to take some vitals, and I think mainly just to look at us to make sure we were okay. So thanks to Worcester Fire Department. All right. Mr. Sanders, we'll lead off with you.
Nothing to add, Mr. President.
Okay. Mr. Silvestri.
Just a couple of things. One, Mr. Ansel, I didn't get a chance to ask, and this could just be a housekeeping issue on Resolution 2017-48. I know you said the cost is included for 4 years, but it's only a 3-year renewal with Whitaker Myers.
18, 19, 20.
Okay, it said 2021 as well on the piece of legislation, the first whereas. So I don't know, like I said, I don't know if it's a housekeeping issue, but I just saw that those two didn't line up, and I didn't get a chance to ask the question during the
It
meeting.
goes from October to September. Well, it goes October to October.
Okay, so it's
Oh, yeah.
not straight
Yeah,
calendar
it's
year.
not
Okay.
calendar year.
Okay.
Okay. Hence the discrepancy,
catch.
so, okay. And also, I just want to say, you know, I too am one who constantly likes to see this council not move with haste under most circumstances, but, you know, I guess to speak to Mr. Albright's comment, I think it's great that the three entities, the Main Street Worcester, the Worcester Area Chamber of Commerce, and the Wayne County Convention and Visitors Bureau have worked together so well over the years. There was a day when I guess I would review that binder with a certain level of skepticism, you could say, but and I will say, you know, there's just a number of awards that we've gotten recently, even just as recently as tonight, to just underscore the fact that from the numbers on the page all the way to the great public events that we host out on the sidewalks of our town, I mean, through and through, this city team, not just City Hall, but also these other organizations, have proven that we have a good thing going. And I hope we stay humble as a city, and I hope we stay hungry as a city, because there's always new challenges ahead. There's always new things that need to be done. There's always things that change in the future that we need to be able to respond to. But I guess right now I feel very confident about this application, and I want to thank Mr. Ansel for his thorough explanation so that we could, you know, consider it, and as you saw, pass it tonight. So thanks.
Thank you. And Mr. Ansel, like you haven't done enough talking, I will give you one last
Promise to be brief.
opportunity.
And my apology, Mr. Albright, if I would have known that you would have wanted to review that, I would have certainly left it on first reading. But the fact that it is the only submission and we have such a compelling understanding of past packages, presentations, and please review it because it is good reading. It's even been added to in terms of its creative flair. There's some neat pictures and photos. You're improving that portion of the presentation, joint applicationers, if you will, but it is a very easy decision in light of it being the only requested allocation and the results being so compelling. But again, my apologies, Mr. Albright, for that oversight. I know how you feel on those matters. And again, congratulations to the fearless finance director and his illustrious staff. That's awful nice when Dave Yost acknowledges that we're in the upper 5 percentile of fiduciary and financial management, and it just reinforces how thorough things are done with the Worcester City Staff Administration and Finance Department. So the real challenge there is the first time that we don't receive those acolytes and acknowledgments, it's going to be deemed as a gross and unacceptable, situation. So you can't ever let that happen, Andre or Sarah Lynn, in your tenure here, your remaining years, because the performance baseline is very, very high. Continued success. Thank you.
And Mr. Cavan?
Yes, thank you. And I too would add thank you and congratulations to Andre and the staff. It does add a certain air of confidence when things are presented to us to know that it has been reviewed by Andre and his staff, so thank you. Also, shout out as well to the fire department. They took care of Mike, they take care of everybody, they take care of all of us. So when we need them, they're there. Thanks.
Ms. Knapp?
Thank you. First, I want to express my deepest sympathy to the police department for losing one of their family members, essentially. I know that was a really, really difficult thing, and my sympathies, and I'm sure all of our sympathies, go out to Megan's family and the whole city administration. It's a huge loss when you lose someone that young that you've worked with. And I want to congratulate Andre and his finance department. As Mr. Ansel said, the bar is set high now. You have to keep it up, and that's I'm sure you will, because you always do such a great job. I want to also thank the recipients of the bed tax. What you do here in Wayne County is absolutely amazing. I travel all over the state for my business, and people are sure that I'm just a Worcester Wayne County cheerleader. They want to know if I'm a realtor on the side, because I keep telling everyone how wonderful it is and how lucky we are, and all the events and the things that we have going on here, particularly downtown. It's just, I feel very fortunate to live in this county and in this city. So thank you very much, and congratulations on all that you do. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Myers, congratulations on your reelection. We'll let you have the last word here.
Well, thank you, and that's really what I wanted to say. I want to thank the voters of Ward 4 for their support in my reelection. I hope to continue to work hard on their behalf. Also want to say hats off to Joe Chirpik, who had run against me. I thought he ran an outstanding campaign. I got to know him throughout that process. He had some very good ideas with regard to some things in our city that I would like to work with him to bring forward to the City Council and this administration. So again, thanks to the voters of Ward 4, and look forward to serving another 4 years.
And I should recognize Ward's 2 council person, Jen Warden, who will be replacing Ms. Knappich the beginning of 2018, and also the newly elected Councilman at Large, Bill Bostancic, who will be replacing our DENA council come January 2018.
And congratulations to Mr. Ansel, too, who is reelected.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Happily, he does that finance.
Yes, I know.
I'm fine with that. But thank you.
And I see our Dean of Council has moved to adjourn. Is there a second?
Do I not get a chance to say anything?
Oh, I'm sorry. I skipped over you, Mr. Albright. I apologize.
That's all right. I wouldn't want people to think that I'm not supportive of these three fine organizations that contribute so much to our economic success in downtown, because they certainly have. But I will take the time between now and the end of the year to, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a good reading, John.
I needed some extra reading material.
Reading material.
So that was my only concern. And then the loss of Megan, it speaks for itself, was a tragic loss, and I'm sure the police department will have a difficult time replacing her. And Andre and your staff, I mean, I've been here long enough to know that we've had good finance directors before, but you've stepped up your game and made it outstanding. And these state awards that you and your staff are winning almost year after year, it seems, is just a tribute to the professionalism of you and your department. So that's all.
Now I'll take your
Yeah,
motion
my
to
move for
adjourn. Is there a second? Second, Ms. Knappich, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.